Oh,
How
look
are
at
you?
you. Look
I
at
know
you.
exactly. Stop.
This is-
Stop. Stop.
All right.
He's just complimenting me. It's unusual.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us today at the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. I'm Jano Lieber, Chair and CEO of the MTA, and I'm here with Long Island and Metro North President Kathy Rinaldi and New York City Transit President Rich Davey. Look at all those beautiful trains behind us. And Danny Zausner, COO of the USTA National Tennis Center. Danny, nice to see you again.
Welcome back.
No secret why we're here today. The U.S. Open's back in town. Fan Week is here, and the best way to get to the tennis center and enjoy the fun is using mass transit. From the 7 to buses to the Long Island Railroad, riding with the MTA is the winning choice. Faster, more cost efficient, and a lot less pressure. I just rode the train out, the new Grand Central Madison to Willett service, and it was an incredible smooth ride, always is. Great to see so many New Yorkers using Grand Central Madison, taking advantage of that increased convenience. The trains are rocking, and we are thrilled to be carrying more than 5 million people a day across all our services. Now, we're excited to welcome tennis fans, as more than 800,000 fans are going to make their way to Flushing over the next 2 weeks to watch the world's best tennis players. Danny, is it really 800,000? Amazing. We're going to be adding extra service to support the higher volumes at the USTA National Tennis Center. As always, schedules and service updates are available on all of our channels, the My MTA and Train Time apps especially, as well as our website. Go to My MTA, go to Train Time, which has the railroads. They're really easy to use and getting easier. In fact, we're beta testing a new version of the MTA app that brings all our different functionalities under a single umbrella for the first time. Check it out. And in fact, with just 1 or 2 taps, you have everything you need to plan your trip. It's whether you're riding the bus, the subway, Long Island Railroad, Metro North, or Accessoride, our paratransit service. And you can sign up to be a tester of the new MTA app just by going online, and it gives a way to sign up. So here we are. Thank you for joining us here on Flushing. This is an annual event. This is one of the joy moments in being a New Yorker. So make it even more joyful and easy by taking mass transit. With that, Kathy Rinaldi.
Thank you, Jano. The end of the summer is always a little bittersweet, but for tennis fans, this is what they dream about all year long. And I am proud to say that the Long Island Railroad will once again offer tons of service to Mets Willets Point for the Open, and now from more places than ever before. Keep cool and stay on serve by letting us bring you literally steps from all the action here. We know how popular an event, actually I didn't know how popular it was, 800,000 people, but it is a very popular event. So beginning tomorrow for the start of Fan Week and lasting through Friday, September 8th, we're adding Mets Willett Point stops during the 8 o'clock hour on 3 a.m. peak Port Washington branch trains. The 8:14 from Port Washington, the 8:20 from Little Neck, and the 8:33 from Port Washington. These added steps supplement our usual Mets Willets Point service and are great options for fans who want to get an early start on watching tennis. After 9 a.m., all westbound Port Washington trains have a Mets Willett Point stop, as do all peak trains all off-peak trains, in both directions 7 days a week. But as Jano said, what's really, really special this year is for the very first time, tennis fans can take trains directly from Grand Central Madison to the tennis center. So to all my fellow tennis fans from Metro North Territory, and I know that there's a lot of them up there, please give us a try. Grab a Port Washington branch train from Grand Central Madison. You're going to love the convenience of getting out here on Long Island Railroad. This now gives customers 2 options to travel out of Manhattan to Mets Willets Point in 19 minutes. Getting here is even more budget-friendly than ever, since we now offer $7 peak and $5 off-peak city ticket options for those traveling within city limits. Keep in mind, though, that our September 5th timetable change will occur in the middle of the tournament, so please make sure to check your Long Island Railroad schedules on mta.info or the Train Time app. I want to thank everybody who makes it possible every year for us to offer our fast and convenient service to the doorstep of this world-class event. When you take public transportation to the U.S. Open, it's advantage you. And we look forward to an outstanding 3 weeks of the finest tennis anywhere. And with that, I'll turn things over to my friend Rich Davey.
Thanks, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Appreciate that. And if the railroad doesn't work for you, I've got better news. You've got the subway, obviously, as well. The 7 service runs every 3 minutes during rush hour. Every 3 minutes. It's only a 29-minute ride out here from Grand Central. What we will be doing, however, to accommodate some of those late-night matches, and given the matches we saw over the weekend, I think we're going to expect some exciting tennis and maybe some longer tennis. We'll be holding 4 or 5 trains to make sure that once those night sessions gets out, there's plenty of room for our customers to get the 7 back into town. Now, I'm the president of New York City Transit. It's probably not surprising that I'm up here telling you why you should be taking public transit, but why don't we take it from 2 titans of tennis whose voices you'll be hearing on our system over the next few days, pushing our customers to take New York City Transit. We have both Andy Roddick and Billie Jean King. Roll it, guys.
Hey, New Yorkers, this is Andy Roddick. The U.S. Open is back in Queens. Remember, the best way to get out to the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center is by riding with the MTA.
Hey, New Yorkers, this is Billie Jean King. The U.S. Open is back in Queens. Remember, the best way to get out to the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center is by riding with the MTA.
Great. So if you don't believe me, believe 2 titans of tennis, that MTA is the way to go. Lastly, I'm going to introduce Danny Sauzer for a few words as well. Danny, please.
Thank you, Rich, and thank you, everybody, for coming out. And I'm extremely thankful to the MTA for everything they're doing to support the 2023 U.S. Open. A slight understatement, 800,000. There's actually going to be more than 880,000 fans out at the U.S. Open this year. And if you go to usopen.org at this point in time, you might find some sessions already sold out, but hopefully we'll still have some tickets for folks. But before we even get to the ticketed event for the 14 days of the main draw, we've got Fan Week starting tomorrow and running through Sunday, where we'll see over 100,000 fans coming out to free activities on our grounds, including incredible tennis, fabulous, amazing food, entertainment, and music throughout the ground. So I really welcome everybody to come out Tuesday through Sunday for Fan Week for an incredibly special event, and go again to usopen.org to get all the details on that incredibly special event. As far as the U.S. Open is concerned this year, we heard about Billie Jean King talking about her PSA announcement for using mass transit. We have banners throughout the site showing Billie Jean's image from 1973. This year marks the 50th anniversary of equal prize money at the U.S. Open, and Billie and the original women of the WTA Tour made an incredibly monumental event that we're all wildly proud of, that takes place, and we get to celebrate this year the 50th anniversary. The Fan Week is also an incredible opportunity for fans not to just see the qualifying tournament, but also to see many of the main draw players practicing on the courts. You could literally be 10, 20 feet away from some of the greatest players on both the men's and women's tour. So please come out to support those players as they're practicing, as well as all the events during Fan Week. And while I'm also incredibly thankful to be standing here with the representatives from the MTA, I'd like to encourage everyone to take mass transit out to the Open this year. All these new services making available for people from Westchester, from Long Island, from New Jersey, and from places north, south, east, and west is a wonderful opportunity for people to avoid the traffic that tends to come to this area during the U.S. Open. I'm mindful of the fact that not only do we have 880,000 fans coming out over these 3 weeks, but let's not lose sight of the fact that the Mets will also be playing home games on several of those the next 20 days during the U.S. Open. So please avoid the congestion, use mass transit, do a great thing for the environment, and come out and have a fabulous time. Thanks again.
Great. Thank you, Danny. And thank you for everything you do for the city and for tennis, and a little bit for mass transit, as you just heard. So thank you.
All right, let's do on topic first, because Danny needs to go over there. Is Megan got the question, or you do, Greg?
I'll defer. Megan's probably better at it. So, well, let's talk first about the kind of how are you? Did you make an effort to kind of let customers and fans know that they have this new option here, and kind of a brand spanking new one? The ride is cheap. Did you have a different approach for that? And then I'll follow up with the.
Well, following up on the heels of, we were standing here last year doing the same thing, because we had many Met conflict dates as well. It's not just about this press event. We've been pushing this very hard on social, as well as the Mets have been doing that as well, to really encourage people. It's all about mass transit because it's so incredibly convenient.
And you're right, Greg. What's especially new, and Kathy talked about it, is Metro North customers for the first time can connect directly through Grand Central to the Long Island Railroad and get out here. And for people in the city, that means a $5 off-peak ticket or a $7 during peak ticket, about 50% discount if you live in the city and you want to take the commuter rails from the old days. We're making it a lot cheaper to take the commuter rails out to Metz Willets Point.
Well, and regular 7 train riders will appreciate that. So could you expand to, as maybe new customers or people return to the system as the summer wraps up after to Labor Day? Has there been an effort throughout the system to make sure that service is kind of where it needs to be, not just for a big event, but for as people come back to the end? The fares go up today too.
Greg, you know, you follow us every day. You know that in the last couple of weeks we've actually begun increasing service. This is an amazing moment. All over the United States, transit is facing incredible financial pressures. Here in New York, thanks to Governor Hochul's leadership and the legislature, we're not only budget balanced, we're adding service. So we've started doing that. Rich, do you want to talk a little more about the additional service that's coming online?
Sure. As you know, we've added service in the JG&M, the 1 and the 6, the C, I think N and R coming soon. But it's particular for those customers who may be using the subway to come out here to tennis or for the Mets for that matter. The 7 line runs incredibly quickly, right? Every 3 minutes during rush hour running service. It also happens to be the line where we have our highest customer satisfaction. Over 7 out of 10 New Yorkers are satisfied or very satisfied. We can always do better, but this is really leading the 7 line in terms of what we're trying to do. So I think folks know that, and we're also cross-marketing. Certainly on the subway side, folks know that Grand Central Madison is now open for business, as it's been for months, and again, allowing customers to access this event through commuter rail as well. So while we might have a rivalry among the railroads and subway, we're a family, and cross-marketing is critically important to get those 880,000 people out here, not in cars, but by other means.
All right, anything else on topic? All right, so Danny, I think you have to go somewhere.
Danny, thank you.
Do the
Always a pleasure.
off-topic questions next. All right, we're going to start with Andrew Siff, News 4 wants to ask more about the high satisfaction on the 7 line.
No, I have a few questions. First question, actually, the 7 is not currently running express from Grand Central to City. Are you not suspending that work during the U.S. Open to resume express service? And if not, why not?
We're not. The work is critical to get done, Andrew, for sure. But what we will do is, particularly for those evening trains, as I mentioned, what we'll do is we'll stage, I believe it's going to be 5 trains. So when the evening session gets out, post-rush hour, we'll still be able to accommodate those thousands of fans. So it will take a little longer because those express, but as you know, we're making significant track work, ADA work. I don't think there's any time that's convenient to do work, but for our customers who are counting on those stations to be accessible, it's important for us to do it.
Next question is, Greg alluded to this, but since the fare hike took effect yesterday and today's the first weekday, what we're hearing from people is, what do I get for it? Now, I heard you already say you're increasing service by 2 minutes on a couple of the lines. Is that your message, for example, to bus riders? We talked to someone who takes the express bus, and now it's $7 instead of $6.75. So what does she get for that?
Well, number one, I mean, nobody likes to pay more for anything, but a year ago, Tom DiNapoli, the controller of the state of New York, was saying that the MTA, because of reduction in ridership, was looking at a financial crisis that might force us to raise fares by $1 or more. We avoided that thanks to the intervention of Governor Hochul and the legislature. So what we've done is we've restored basically 2% a year fare increases. Now, compared to what's going on in the rest of the world, I think 2% a year is a pretty good deal. That said, we do want to give our riders better service. We're giving them more service. We have the best on-time performance in the subway system in over 10 years. The buses are moving more quickly, and we're redesigning the whole bus system to put it on routes that are faster and more reliable. We are continuing to buy new rolling stock, and as Rich said, we're doing signaling and other work to make sure that we can deliver more service and faster service and better service. So we're investing like hell, and I think riders are going to be happy with what they're seeing about the additional service and the better service.
I just wondered if either of them wanted to weigh in on. You got it?
I think we'll leave
and
it at that.
The only other question is some commuter rail riders have been hearing about a possible strike on Metro North, and the summer's coming to a close. People want to know, how realistic is that scenario, and what are you prepared to do if Metro North goes on strike?
I don't know. I'll let Kathy handle that. Are we going to go on strike, Kathy?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm obviously hearing the same rumbling. So, there's a complicated federal statute that relates to labor disputes in the commuter rail. So it's a little bit different from the subways. They're covered by the Taylor Law. The commuter rails are not covered by the Taylor Law. But there's a fairly elaborate series of procedures that need to go through before the railroad employees get a legal right to strike. And there's essentially a 270-day clock. Once they're released from mediation, they have not been released from mediation yet. So that clock hasn't even started to run yet. So the notion that there's going to be a strike this year is just not true.